Chapter 9 The Last Meeting. Ludwig was drinking coffee while looking through the window. It was a rainy day. He liked this kind of day. He was relaxed. The house was silent, something strange when you live with Gilbert. And he was done with work for the day. He sighed with relief. He heard somebody knocking on his door. He placed his cup back on the table and went to open the door. Hi. Feliciano was standing outside of the apartment. Ludwig was slightly surprised to see the boy. He had almost forgotten he had to see Feliciano today. How could he, this kid, who had invaded his thoughts in the last days, when finally managed to find a moment of peace, be at his doorstep at this moment? Come inside, Feliciano. I was waiting for you. Thanks. The Italian walked in, and they began to walk to Ludwig's study. Feliciano was truly sad. Instead of his natural cheery aura, there was a downcast one instead. He was already disappointed with Ludwig not staying at the showcase, but the fact that the older man didn't even mention it when they met was driving him crazy. Am I being too sensitive about this? Feliciano, are you listening to me? Feliciano snapped out of his thoughts. What? I was telling you that this will be the last time we meet since the exams next week. I won't be surprised if you get a high grade. You've been doing a great job this past weeks. Feliciano lit up. You really think so? Thanks, Ludwig. The idea of not being able to spend more time with Feliciano made Ludwig feel a bit uneasy. Well, in fact, more uneasy than he would like to be. Let's finish this, shall we? His speech could not reach the ears of Feliciano due to a sudden thunder which made the young boy jump. Ludwig looked at him. Are you afraid of thunders? Feliciano felt a little embarrassed. Kind of. Don't worry, they kind of scare me too. An ability to make him feel secure with a few words. How couldn't he love this man? After a while, they were just about to finish with their task, but inside each of them, an inner fight was taking place. Ludwig couldn't stop thinking of what his brother told him. Was he really such a coward that he couldn't let out his feelings? Perhaps just a little. Okay, maybe Gilbert was right, but this guy in front of him, why was he so important to him? How could he know? Is it because his heart was beating so fast? The sudden happiness he felt by just being in this company? Crap. He was so lost at heart issues. Now Feliciano was switching moods between sadness, anxiety, and anger. How could this man be so insensitive? He had given his all, putting his effort into showing what was inside his heart, and he seemed as affected by it as a rocket with the wind. They had been working together for 2 hours, and he had hardly paid any attention to the examples they were checking. He wasn't going to take it anymore. He had been holding back for far too long. He had to know what were Ludwig's feelings. Ludwig! He said louder than he wanted. Ludwig looked up from the example with a questioning look. Yes, Feliciano, am I going too fast with this one? No, it's not about that. Why didn't you stay after the showcase? Ludwig didn't expect this. But Feliciano cut him off. I invited you for a reason, you know. I changed my song for you because, I thought that by inviting you and singing it that you'd get it. But I think you didn't. That or you just didn't like it at all. And it's okay, well, not really. No, what I mean is I spent many nights thinking about it, being afraid, but I'll try for it the last time because I don't want to regret never letting you know this. I want to tell you that I'm in love with you, Ludwig. Feliciano, who was looking at the floor, now fixated his eyes on Ludwig's. You may think that this is just a bluff of mine, but it isn't. I'm sure of that, because since I met you, I can't stop thinking about you. You became something very important to me, and I wanted to know, by any chance, did you feel the same way? Ludwig stopped breathing. He was at a loss of words. He was looking at Feliciano, but he just couldn't open his mouth. Feliciano returned his glance to the floor, trying to hide his face with his hair, some drops of clear liquid falling from his cheeks. I see how it is. After all, I kissed the bread to you, huh? How embarrassing. His voice trembled slightly. I'm sorry I put you through all this after all you've done for me. Please forgive me. I won't bother you again. With this, Feliciano grabbed his things and ran away, not looking back. Ludwig stood still for a few more seconds, his brain not recognizing what had happened. It was only just after hearing the door slam closed did the blonde come out of his trance. He then looked out the window. The early rain had turned into a storm. He could feel how his body was the one in charge now, as he ran to the door and left the apartment, not even locking the door or taking a coat with him. Instead of using the elevator, he ran downstairs 3 floors in a matter of seconds. Once outside, he desperately looked for the boy. Feliciano! He ran towards the park, thinking it was the only way back home the Italian knew. He didn't have to go far. The boy was sitting on the bench with a little roof, all wet, holding his knees. Ludwig approached him, and when Feliciano saw him coming, he prepared to run away again, but Ludwig didn't allow it. He grabbed him by the arm, preventing the younger man from running away. Please, don't go. With those words, Feliciano turned to face Ludwig, who is now as agitated and wet as he was. I didn't mean to. Ludwig tried to think of the right words. The last thing I want to do is to make you cry. I didn't answer because I couldn't believe it. What? The younger man was confused. I can't believe you're actually interested in me. Feliciano was the one who was speechless now. Ludwig continued. I didn't stay at the showcase because it was too overwhelming for me. When I saw you there, you were just perfect. I couldn't stop looking at you. But when your performance finished, I was afraid of not being good enough for you, of disappointing you. I'm nothing special, Feliciano, and you're incredible. When I heard you were at my door, I thought it was my imagination, but when you left, the fear of losing you was like no other fear that I've ever felt before. You don't have to apologize for anything. It's me you must forgive for hurting you. I swear to you that it won't happen again. Feliciano looked at the taller man with his eyes wide open as he said this. Please don't look at me like that. By now, you should know that I'm not good at this kind of thing. It was hard of me to say all these things, but it was important that you knew this. Suddenly they heard a loud thunder, and without thinking, Feliciano hugged Ludwig. When he realized what he had done, he let go of Ludwig, blushing. I'm sorry, I was scared and Ludwig hugged him again, feeling awkward doing it since he wasn't used to displaying affection to another person. But with Feliciano, it seemed all natural. It's okay, you don't have to be afraid anymore. Feliciano felt himself smile. He tried to face Ludwig. Hey, Ludwig? Yes. The older man loosened his grip from the younger boy, only to be surprised with a kiss. It was quite awkward for Feliciano, for he had to stand on his toes to kiss the other on the lips, but sweet nonetheless. When he finished the kiss, he giggled at the view of the blonde with a red face. How could the young boy before him be so bold? It wasn't like it bothered him or anything, but he wasn't prepared for something like that. Ludwig turned his face, trying to hide the blush, earning more giggles from the Italian. He then looked back at Feliciano and returned the smile. You do know that I really like seeing your smile, Feliciano. And that trick of yours as well. Well, I like everything about you, Ludwig. They both could feel as if their hearts were about to leave their chests. The rain was thicker now. I think I should take you home for today. Once they were back at the apartment, Ludwig realized there was a note on the counter. It read, Hey Lud, today is Francis's birthday. I'll take your car for a couple of hours, so try to be as awesome as your awesome brother and don't get mad, okay? Winky face. Gilbert. That idiot. He murmured to himself. Oh no, Gilbert did this on purpose. He wants you two to fuck. What happened? Feliciano asked. I'm sorry, Philly, but I can't drive you home. Gilbert took my car. Phil, you called me Philly. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean... No, it's okay. I like you calling me Philly. Okay, son. Somehow being around Feliciano made Ludwig felt comfortable enough to do things he wouldn't normally do. And don't worry, I got my grandpa to come pick me up. Oh, may I use your phone? Sure, it's at the end of the corridor. Feliciano skipped down at the corridor and to the phone. Ludwig just remembered he was all wet and walked to the service room to put his clothes in the dryer. What's a service room? Damn it, British people! He was taking off his shirt and pants until Feliciano suddenly appeared at the door. Ludwig, both being men, Ludwig wouldn't have felt embarrassed, but the way Feliciano was looking at him drove him to instinctively cover himself. A shade of pink covered his cheeks as he asked, Could you give me a minute? Oh, it's okay. I was going to ask if you could dry my clothes. Without consent, the little boy started stripping as well. Oh, yes. Okay, this is actually in character. Good job. But very tight. Without hearing Ludwig, Feliciano slowly took off his clothes, leaving him in only his boxers.
I'm going to jail!
It was a good excuse to see the sculpted body of the blonde. Feliciano wondered how he could be so nervous about showing it off. Ludwig, on the other hand, aside from feeling shy of being observed, was doing his best not to look much at Feliciano. He was slim, he had toned muscles, and that tan skin of his made him look, well... Stop those thoughts, it's just a boy! By the way, I called home. My grandpa's on the business trip and Romano is still in bed, so I'll take the bus once my clothes are ready. I don't think you're going home, Feliciano. Ludwig looked at the clock. It's pretty late already. I don't think that's a good idea. He thought for a moment before suggesting, Perhaps you could stay here for the night. I'll call your grandpa and explain your situation to him. I'll take you home in the morning. I freaking knew it! Oh my gosh. Cue the sexy music. Feliciano felt a little bit guilty. I'm not giving you too much trouble, am I? Don't worry, it's not your fault that you have to stay here. I should have been aware of the time or the fact that my brother would steal my car. Okay, thank you very much. I'll prepare the bed for you then. Ludwig left the service room to prepare the bedroom for Feliciano and to get away from the provocative scenario. I like how the grammar is actually pretty good in this chapter. So far. Feliciano followed him though. If I'm staying here, where are you staying? In the living room. I'm already being a bother by staying here for the night. I won't take the bed away from you. Philly, it's okay. No, it's not, and you're too big for the couch. Ludwig was aware of this, but he was afraid of leaving Feliciano to the drunken trio once they were home. We could sleep together if you want. What? Okay, this guy gone too far. I bet your bag is big enough for the two of us. Feliciano, it isn't right. But why? Why did he want to make things complicated? It isn't proper, okay? Ludwig. Feliciano's tone of voice had changed. I'm not afraid of you doing anything to me. I just don't want you to have a bad night because of me being here. And I also understand that you don't want Gilbert to see me here, so please try to be reasonable. Ludwig was left gaping at the small boy. Perhaps he wasn't so immature after all. Fine, then over here. Yay! The German raised an eyebrow. What with the sudden mood swings? I'm glad to sleep next to you. How can I not be happy? Ludwig didn't remember the last time he had blushed so many times in the same day. He also didn't remember the last time he felt so happy. Here, I don't know if the house is too cold for you. Ludwig handed an extra blanket to Feliciano. Thanks, but actually... You stay on your half of the bed, okay? It's bad enough that I let you sleep in the same bed as me. Why is that? Why? Because you're still a minor and I'm your teacher. It's just wrong. Thank you, Ludwig. Thank you. Feliciano stared at Ludwig with sweet eyes. But we are together now, right? Ludwig was taken aback by this declaration. He started babbling nervously. Well, Feliciano jumped from the bed and hugged him by the neck. There's nothing wrong about it. Ludwig took Feliciano's arms away gently. This is against the law! Perhaps we should do this slower, don't you think? Ludwig then left the room. Feliciano thought Ludwig's shyness was adorable, but he would work on gradually making him more confident. When Ludwig came back to the room after calming himself from a wave of emotions he had experienced for the day, he found the Italian asleep in the middle of the bed. He couldn't help but smile. Preferring not to disturb the little man's sleep, he occupied a small space on the bed. As he beheld what he considered a view of beauty, he felt so calm and complete at the moment that he was slowly falling asleep. After closing his eyes for a few minutes, he felt Feliciano in his chest, invading his personal space again. He first thought the boy was toying with him, but this time the Italian was unconscious. How could he feel so free about body contact? He tried to move him away, but failed, because every time he managed to gain some space for himself, the boy came closer to him. He chose to surrender and instead hugged him tightly. What had he gotten himself into? A relationship with another man younger than him. What would his brothers say? More importantly, what would Feliciano's family think about this? And even more importantly, what would the school board think about this? Many worries came to his mind. He began to feel tense until a soft, sleepy voice said, I love you, Ludwig. Ludwig paralyzed and faced the younger man to see if he was still awake. He was still sleeping. Well, perhaps it wasn't so terrifying. As long as this boy was next to him, he would find a way to make things work out.
Hi-ho, it's off to jail you go!
The next morning, Ludwig was awoken by his cell phone alarm. What's that? He mumbled as he turned to look at his clock. 10 a.m.? Why didn't I get up before? He then remembered he had a guest, a peaceful man resting in his arms. As he leaned to kiss him on the forehead, his phone sounded again, signaling a message. Get the hell up. This relationship is going pretty fast. Ludwig got out of bed and walked to the living, not without closing the door of his room. He wasn't surprised to find the drunken idiots passed out in his living room. Why are you in my house again? Francis and Gilbert, who for some reason were sleeping on the couch hugging each other, fell to the floor when they heard Ludwig shout. Antonio hit his head on the coffee table as he suddenly got up. How could this guy stand sleeping on the floor? Ludwig, there is no way to wake up your brother. You took my car without my permission again, and you brought your stupid drinking buddies to the house again! Francis displayed an expression of mock hurt. Oh, Ludi, you really hurt me when you told me that. I thought we had a special relationship. You and I have nothing together, Francis. Oh, my heart. What have I done to be treated this way? You were so much cuter when you were younger. But I must admit, you grew up to be a handsome man aside from your brother. What the hell, Francis? Lud will never be as awesome as his big brother, and he knows it. Ludwig just stared at them unamused. How do you manage to say so many stupid things? They get up early. Francis and Gilbert glared at Antonio. Just joking, guys. You know I respect both of you. Anyways, I told the three of you that if you are going to comment in one of your idiotic affairs, please refrain from coming to my apartment. Lord, that's rude. You must not speak like that to your guests. Ludwig grew more irritated each time. They are not my guests, Gilbert. I want you out now, and don't forget to... Ludwig began giving them the usual scold. When the three men remained silent for more than a minute, he felt worried. That and the fact that the trio was staring at him with a grin on their faces, he felt the worst coming. Oh my, Ludi. Now I know I do want to do Gigasao. You have a special guest, mon cher. Ludwig turned his face away and saw Feliciano standing right behind him, covered in a blanket. He quickly said, I can explain. Ludwig.
Kiss?
I cannot believe it. You're a pedophile just like Antonio. Hey! Antonio was offended. Hello, cutie. What is your name, mon amour? My name is Feliciano Vargas. Hey, it's so nice to meet you. I am glad that Lud finally declared you. I couldn't think of a better brother-in-law. Feliciano smiled and was about to shake hands with Francis and Gilbert as a greeting gesture when the blanket covering him fell to the floor, revealing him only wearing his boxers. Both men looked right at Ludwig. What have you done to this child? I didn't. I don't even... Feliciano, why are you naked? I tried to tell you yesterday when you gave me an extra blanket. I usually sleep like this or naked. Gilbo, it seems like what other people say is true. What is it, Francis? That those who look the most innocent are the most perverted ones. Oh, my friends, that would be true. Look at my brother. He turned out to be a sinner, what would that older man say? I know the shame you are going through, my friend, but you must be strong. Could you two please shut up? Nothing happened between me and Feli. Oh, you are already calling him Feli, so cute. Ludwig, felicidades hermano. Now we can double date the Vargas brothers. With his last words, all that attention was now on Antonio. Oh, didn't I tell you guys I'm dating Romanito? I can understand why Ludwig fell for Feli. They're both just so adorable, right, Ludwig? Ha ha ha! You are both sick bastards! Gilbert fell to the floor laughing, while Francis laughed along with him. Antonio just stood there smiling, and soon joined in on the laughter. Feliciano had been confused by the conversation for a long time now, so he took the chance to talk to Ludwig, while the trio were still laughing. Ludwig, do you want me to make breakfast? Huh? You don't have to, Feli. It's okay. It's not a problem, really. It's the least I can do after all you did for me last night. The trio remained silent a second, then burst into laughter yet again. Ludwig just face-palmed inside. Hey, I'm sorry. Did I say something? Don't worry, Feli. I'll help you with the breakfast. End of chapter 9. Oh gosh, I can't wait for the legal issues.